Okay, so I want to talk about my philosophy or theory of romance today, and I'm going to do my best to say this in the right way. But I wrote a whole ass script for this, and I'm not going to try and use it. And we'll see how it goes. So basically, um, uh, I there's several places I can start with this. One good place is so John Gottman wrote had a study about the optimum of relationship or the optimum ratio of positive and negative interactions in a relationship, and the minimum positive to negative ratio is 5 to 1. The maximum is 20 to 1. The relevant detail here is that you can be too nice. This is actually like the first thing that turned me onto this when I was thinking about this originally. Is that it is funny that you can be too nice, which is like I think something that everyone intuits, but is not often like described like why or how or what are the conditions there. And I haven't really looked at that deeply into John Gottman or like his findings, so he might actually talk about this. But I'm gonna do my best to explain. Basically, um, I think that in relationships you need negative interactions. And the reason is because it signals like investment. It signals buy-in. Like if I like you, but I'm not willing to like challenge you, or at least like like have a negative interaction with you, then it means that I am not invested in basically what there is between us. And so it basically means that it's like very mercenary, sort of like almost like an employee dynamic, where like you probably don't care if anything bad would happen to me because you're not invested. You haven't like risked negative a negative interaction to um, basically show that you are invested. And so a lot of things to talk about here, but basically, a theory about what confidence is. This kind of ties into it. Confidence is like basically like contextual understanding. That's my theory. Um, and and people like other people who are confident because confident people basically signal certainty. They signal that they know what's going to happen, and it reduces other people's empathetic workload. So basically, people are constantly trying to make sense of the world. There's chaos in the world. There's chaos outside, and they are trying to like reduce the complexity in their like perspective view of the world, so that they can make sense of it easier. And when you're around somebody else who's confident, provided they're not an enemy, but if you're around somebody else who is confident, then their confidence helps you because it basically allows you to provision less effort to make sense of the world. You're not having to watch out for as many scenarios that might potentially happen. And so it's really beneficial to you to be around other people who are confident. And like, so there's this saying like, fake it till you make it. There's such a thing as like sort of faking confidence. But I think faking confidence is actually is beneficial for the person who's faking it and also everyone else in the exact same way. Because even if you don't know what you're doing, um, pretending like you do still allows other people to provision less effort to, you know, to watch out for scenarios that they don't know might be there, or at least like it allows them to rest easier. And so like the only scenario in which like having fake confidence isn't really helpful is when you are like if you are faking confidence and you're around other people who are actually knowledgeable in that context, then your fake confidence will not help you with them. It won't help them rest easier. But usually, I think people don't hold it against you either. So I don't know. That's it. Anyway, that's confidence. But so wrapping that back around though to like philosophy of romance, basically, interpersonal chemistry is when you have two people who are confident enough to challenge each other. Like you need, like I think you need, in order to have like a friendship that is real, that is not fake, you need to have some minimum ratio where you have positive interactions, but at least some minimum amount of negative interactions as well. And that is like how you know it's a real friendship and not like fake friendship. And then like when you have enough confidence to do this to have more negative interactions with each other. That's where you have interpersonal chemistry. And I used to say that I thought that flirting was when you play with the line of being too nice in relationships. But now I think actually much more accurately, flirting is when you play with the line of being too nice and also the line of being too mean, for lack of a better term. Um, you maintain a ratio between this positive to negative, that between that like the limits of the positive to negative interactions, um, maintain tension, and that is what interpersonal chemistry is. I think that there is a spectrum of purpose in relationships. The spectrum is from nurturing to challenging. And a purpose of a nurturing relationship is to help you achieve your potential. And the purpose of a challenging relationship is to help you expand your maximum potential. Um, so, and that's so basically what you're doing when you maintain that ratio, or like maintain the tension between those two like boundaries of the positive and negative interactions. What you're doing is people are trying to make sense of the world, right? And they're trying to also like watch out for the chaos of the world. They're watching for accidents, and enemies and bad things that might happen. But it's not just outside of themselves; it's also inside of themselves. There's chaos inside of all of us, and so we're all watching ourselves to make sure that we don't betray ourselves and or make a fool of ourselves. So when you're around somebody else who likes you and they're willing to challenge you, what it signals is enough strength to, on the nurturing side, stop you if you are about to make a fool of yourself, but also like challenge an enemy if they were to approach. That's like the nurturing side. And then on the opposite side, the challenging side, basically it's the same challenge that signals enough strength to keep you safe is also the challenge that signals enough strength to sharpen you and make you better. Like iron sharpens iron. Um, so so yeah, like that's I think that is what interpersonal chemistry is when you have a relationship where you where that tension is maintained, and when you have that relationship and also a sexual relationship on top of that, we call that romance. And so like this is my like definition of romance is I think that like it's a sexual relationship where you have like a prominent um, like challenging dynamic basically, and yeah, it's like it's not necessarily true. I think that you can't like all flirtation is sexual, and that like all um, even that all romance is sexual, but but I don't know. So there's a couple of other things to mention here. I think that John Gottman, his ratio of 5 to 1 is probably true in aggregate, but I think I've definitely had experiences, and I think that this is true for a lot of people where if you are actually like if you're in a scenario where you're flirting, you actually like the ratio is steeper than 5 to 1. It's more like it can be as steep. I've had it I think as steep as 2 to 1, where like two positive interactions, one negative interaction, very steep, very challenging. It's also like so much fun, and yeah. Actually, like, what was it? Yeah. So it's like I think that like you need some minimum challenge in a relationship to like signal real friendship, and probably like in aggregate over time you want to have like an average ratio that's like 5 to 1, but especially like in romantic situations, I found that like you can go even steeper than that, and probably not maintain it forever. You probably want to back off eventually and like get back to like something that is more nice on average, but like there's something else I might include it in there.